Welcome everybody. Hopefully by now you've made your pizza dough and it's ready and waiting. If you put the yeast in, I hope it's rising nicely and getting all puffed up and ready to go. So before we talk about the frying pan, what we're going to talk about is the toppings. Now, they're entirely up to you. I am not going to tell you what to put on your pizza. You can do whatever you like, even if that does include pineapple, which I quite like actually. So I am going to put on my pizza, as you can see, 2 types of cheese, because you can never have enough cheese. That's just a general rule for life. Mozzarella and cheddar. I'm also going to put on chorizo, because I really like chorizo. Now, with the sauce, what I'm going to use a jar of passata. I won't need all this, because this is a ridiculous amount. This will do 2 or 3 pizzas, maybe even more. I'm going to use a carton of passata, and I've mixed into that some sun-dried tomato paste. You do not have to do this. You can do multiple options. What you can do is you can simply use that and chuck in some herbs or some salt and pepper and mix that on. You can get yourself a jar of pizza sauce ready from the supermarket. This is supposed to be fun. Don't worry about making stuff like this if you just want to use a jar of sauce. That's perfectly fine. You can just use that on its own. It will be alright because you're going to put nice toppings on top of it and it'll taste just as good. You can use, instead of this, pesto. Pesto is really nice in this. Be careful if you've got a nut allergy though, because just look at the back, alright? Green pesto, red pesto, both are really nice in there. So it's entirely up to you. What I do not recommend you do, but obviously I can't stop you, is putting tomato puree on there, because to me it's just not pleasant, okay? It's your call though. If you want to put tomato puree out of a tube and spread it on, you can, but personally I would rather make a nice sauce. Like I say, this will do 3 or 4 pizzas. Any spare you can make into a pasta sauce or whatever, okay? So the frying pan. Now the reason I'm going to do this in the frying pan is because a traditional pizza oven gets to about 400 degrees. And if you have a look in your oven, it's probably not going to get any higher than 250. Now, if we put this on the hob and put the pizza in there, what the heat of the hob will do is it will cook that base properly and make it really crispy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the pan under the grill to cook the top. Basically, it's a bit like posh cheese on toast, which is all pizza is, okay? So we're going to do it that way. If you do not have a frying pan, this is a 30cm frying pan, okay? If you've got a smaller one, that's fine, make 2. You're perfectly fine by that. This will make 1 that feed 2 people. And it'll use exactly the amount of dough that you've just made, 250 grams of flour, 170 ml of water. If you do not have that, but you've got a baking tray, roll out your pizza dough like I'm going to show you what to do in a minute. Flour your baking tray, and then simply just put your toppings on top. Just put your toppings on, put the pizza dough on there, put your toppings on top and stick it in the oven the highest you can get your oven, okay? If you want to do that, that's perfectly fine, but we're going to do it today in the frying pan, okay? So to roll out your dough, what you need to do is you're going to need a rolling pin for one, or if you haven't got a rolling pin, something solid and circular would do as well. If you haven't got anything that's solid and circular or a rolling pin, you can do this by hand, but it'll be tricky. And just let gravity do your work. All you've got to do is just hold it like that and just let it fall and keep turning it. I'll show you like that. And keep turning it, and it will just eventually go to where you want it basically, and you can stretch it and put it into the pan. Right, so I'm going to use a rolling pin for this though. So a little bit of flour onto your surface just to stop it sticking. Don't drench your surface full of flour, otherwise you'll dry out your dough. A little bit onto the rolling pin, and then just use gravity, not gravity, what am I talking about? Use force and just stretch it, and you'll see it keeps springing back because that's where the gluten that you've worked, and you make it stretchy. So keep doing that, and eventually you will give up and it will stay how you like it. Make sure you can cover the base of your pan. Don't worry about getting it too circular, we can sort that out later. Get it to about the size of a pan and get it really thin. This works only if the dough is really, really thin. Okay? So there we go. Nice and flat. Okay? To prepare the pan, put a little bit of oil in there. If your pan is non-stick, this will just help it out. If your pan is not non-stick, this is pretty much a vital step. So put a little bit in there, get yourself a piece of kitchen paper, and then just brush it around like that. Just to make it cover every surface, just to make sure it comes out at the end, okay? Just a little coating. and that is your pan ready. So what we're going to do is going to make the pizza in the pan. We're going to make it in a cold pan. Do not put it on the hob and do not switch it on. Make your pizza in a cold pan. So I've got my pan, I've got pizza dough, and all I'm going to do is just place it in there. And then just shape it to the pan. Don't worry about it being really neat. Just shape it, stretch it, and see what it does. If it starts to be a little bit awkward, just squash it into the sides of the pan like that. Make sure it fits right under there. Okay, and just play around with it. It's quite tough pizza dough. It can take being moved around, but the key is to get it nice and thick. Nice and thin, so it cooks really quickly. All right, so just mix that up. And there we go. So there's your pizza dough in your pan up the sides. If it falls off, don't worry. You can stick it back there. It's because I'm holding it up at a weird angle. Just going to make my pizza now. Just use a few tablespoons of the sauce. Make sure it's nicely coated to the bottom. Don't drench your pizza though. Key to a good pizza is not to put too much on it. Less is more in the case of this. It stops it getting overwhelmed, stops it from becoming soggy. So just make sure it's nice and coated. You've got a nice base. My advice for the rest of the toppings is put cheese on last. But if you've got grated cheese, put it on last because it will protect everything. Cheese can take the heat, it goes nice and brown, but other things have a tendency to catch and burn. Okay, so it's up to you how you do it, but I would recommend you do it that way. So I'm going to put on my chorizo, just spread it around. Put on as much or as little as you want. It's your pizza, you do whatever you feel is appropriate. I'm going to put a little bit on there. Then with my mozzarella, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to rip it, put it in chunks all over the pizza, because then it'll melt into splodges and it'll be really nice. You don't have to spend a fortune on mozzarella. It's about 40 pence a bag. Buy the cheap stuff. If you want to splash out and buy the buffalo mozzarella, fair enough, it's your call. But the cheap stuff works just as nicely. Okay, so cover the pizza. Make sure it's going to melt and it's going to spread everywhere. Okay, and finally, sprinkle cheese over the top. Make sure it's nicely coated. And there you go. Your pizza should be assembled by now. Just to finish it off, I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper over the top. And one of my favourite dried herbs, oregano. This is Italian. I'm just going to do a little sprinkle over there. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit. Just so it melts into the cheese. Alright, so we're going to start cooking it in a sec. First thing you need to do, number one, is you need to, before you start cooking on the hob, is get your grill on, because your grill needs to be really hot. So get it going to the highest temperature you can get it. Okay, so that's ready to go. Your handle, if you've got a plastic handle like me, I advise you to protect it. Get yourself some foil. All you need to do, just a little bit, not a lot, and then just wrap it round the handle, okay? When it goes in the grill, it will just protect it slightly, okay? When you do this, make sure that someone is with you and watching you, keep an eye on you, okay? Use oven gloves. You all know the oven safety, you've all done it. Or you should have. And then you're good to go. So let's say we've built it into a cold pan, okay? Get your biggest hob, whether it's electric or gas, and turn it on to the highest possible setting it can go. Alright? And then just simply put your pizza on top. Okay? Now this is going to take about 5 minutes, but what will happen is the pan will get incredibly hot and it will start to cook the base underneath. Do not worry about cooking the toppings, that's what the grill's for in about 5 minutes time. Now you're not going to be able to see what's happening. You might be able to have a look at the edge and you'll see it's starting to go a little bit white as it starts to cook through. What you're going to have to do at some point is just very, very gently check underneath. But don't leave this alone. Don't leave it, don't walk away, okay? Watch it. And it's going to take about 5 minutes, okay? So it's been about 3 or so minutes now. If you have a, obviously it doesn't look like anything's happened, but the cheese has started to melt slightly, so the heat is coming through the pizza. And if you look at the side, you can see it's starting to change slight texture, so it is actually cooking. What you're looking for is you're going to have to look underneath, and you have to be very, very careful when you do this. So if you're a bit nervous, get someone else to do it for you, get an adult to do it for you. Just have a look underneath, and you'll be able to see the colour. Obviously I can't show you this, but you're looking for a brown spots, you're looking for it to be, well, completely different basically. Let's see if I can figure out how to show you it. Zoom in, maybe, let's have a look. So if I just lift it up there, and if you could just about see that white colour there, it's starting to change some brown spots there. Keep it going. If it starts to puff up like this over here, just pluck it back down. Release the steam and let it just squash it back down. Which should only take another couple of minutes after this. Okay, so if I show you this side, because it looks more obvious, if you have a look there, you can just about, no you can't see, can you? You can just about see the brown spots just next to my knife. Once that happens, immediately put it straight into the grill. Use oven gloves to take it off the hob and put it straight under the grill, which should be on. It should be really, really hot now. So the pizza is under the grill. As you can see, it's starting to bubble. Your indicators, if this is done, is the colour of the cheese. Is it starting to go? Is it starting to go golden? Is it starting to bubble like that one is? And look at the edges of the pizza. Is it starting to go brown? If it's starting to go brown, then it's pretty much done, basically. So just keep an eye on it. You can pull it out whenever you like. It's going to go straight. You can put it straight back in. Just have a look at the crust. That was probably your best indicator. Okay. So this has been about 3 minutes. I'm just going to pull it out to have a look. As you can see, the crust has got that nice golden brown spotted colour that you'd expect from a really nice pizza. The pizza is bubbling. I'm going to give that another couple of minutes because I've used passata and I've used mozzarella and it's got quite high water content, so I want to get rid of some of that so it's not a soggy pizza. So I'm going to go back in for another minute. So it's been an extra minute. I'm going to take my pizza out now because that's met all the criteria they said. So leave it on there. Get it on the hob with the hob switched off, hopefully. Make sure you switch your grill off. I keep leaving mine on all the time. And then just let it settle. Let it stop bubbling, let it calm down, let it relax a little bit, and then you're ready to serve it. But like just said, indicators, the colour of the crust, colour of the cheese, nice and bubbly. And you can also see it's come away from the side, which is what a good pizza should do. It shouldn't stick to it, because of the insane heat, it should not stick to that pizza frying pan. So the pizza's settled. I've got myself a board that I can put it on. Now it's time to get it out of the pan. If you followed all the instructions, this should be quite simple. Okay, if you haven't, and it's stuck to the base, then this could be quite interesting. So I don't know how this is going to go. We'll soon find out. So get your frying pan pizza, get yourself a little knife, and then just underneath, lift it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it should just slide out. I'm just going to give it a pull there. Boom, there we go. It's a relief. And there you go. One frying pan pizza. Ready to eat yourself or share if you're that kind. Enjoy.